So, I don't really have an introduction to this video. I just happened to stumble across something on Facebook that was trending for a little bit, and I thought it'd be interesting to make into a video. The thing that I saw online was asking people to share what video games defined their childhood. Now, before I start, let me mention that growing up I wasn't introduced to a lot of games until my college years. I've heard of some titles but never actually got to play the games myself. I was super active in sports during my youth, so that took up most of my time. It wasn't until my late high school years I started to play video games more often, so half of these games were played during those last couple of years. But without further ado, here are the video games that defined my childhood. Number 6. Super Mario Bros. NES. This was one of the first, if not the first, video games I remember playing on the first console I ever played. While I did enjoy playing Super Mario 64, it just wasn't the same when compared to the original Super Mario Bros. I prefer the simplicity of running forward, jumping on the heads of your enemies, and then plowing through them all with a fire flower or star power-up. I didn't like that in Mario 64, I had to go on a hunt for stars in different worlds that contained about 5. And once I obtained just one, I was kicked out of that world, so I had to go back in multiple times to go get the rest. I didn't want to keep going back to the same world. I just wanted to see the new level. But I needed stars for that! Super Mario Bros. Also had that classic music that, for a split second, scared most kids when they first entered the level. You know what I'm talking about. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Number 5. Kingdom Hearts. Disney and Square Enix had a baby and I jumped on that bandwagon so fast. Sign me the f*** up. I get to swim with Ariel and fly with the magic of pixie dust. Oh my god, I'm a monster in Halloween Town. The inner child in my soul was screaming. Granted, it definitely had its moments of frustration. Donald, stop curing me. I don't need it. Use it on yourself because all I hear is you fainting. Number 4, Fatal Frame 3. I love horror movies, so it was no surprise how much I fell in love with the horror genre of video games. Unlike horror movies where I was watching everything from the comfort of my own home, in horror games I was the one in control. I was the one that had to make the decision to walk down the dark corridor, or just stop playing the game right then and there. In high school, a friend had introduced me to the first installment of Fatal Frame, including other titles such as Clock Tower and Rule of Rose. Fatal Frame really stuck out to me, but Fatal Frame 3 was the first of the series that I actually got to play for myself. The idea of having a camera as my only weapon, and the closer a ghost was to me when they attacked being the optimal time for high damage, was a scary thought at the time. But Fatal Frame 3 added something different by making the player enter in and out of a dream world. I remember feeling so relieved when I finally ended a dream sequence and could finally wake back up to reality. It was a moment to feel safe and take a breather, until your apartment started to have hauntings of its own, and it didn't feel so safe anymore. This also allowed for some really nice storytelling through image alone. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a moment where Ray, the main character, wakes up in her apartment, and when you go down the stairs, there's a black spot on the couch. It's unclear if Ray actually understands, but you as the player understand instantly. When I saw it happen, I was actually a little distraught, and I kind of just sat there. That's all I'll say for that. If you played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It may not be a fan favorite horror game, but I still love it. Number 3. Spyro the Dragon and Ape Escape. These two are ties simply for the fact that they both bring me some major nostalgia. It was really hard to place them individually because they both have the same factors that bring me back to my childhood. Both have this adorable blocky charm with gorgeous colors. And where Super Mario 64 failed to get me wanting to explore its worlds, Spyro and Ape Escape did not. I love dragons. So in Spyro, I made it my mission to free all of the dragons and find those super annoying egg thieves that would mock you as you chased them. And in Ape Escape, it felt like the monkeys were mocking you too. I took it personally, and I needed to catch them to shut them up. The only thing that I can't say for Spyro is that compared to Ape Escape, I don't really remember any of the music. Ape Escape had some of the best music for all of their worlds, and they were all so catchy. Number 2. Pokemon Silver. Pokemon had to be on this list, no doubt about it. I belong to the generation that was first introduced to the original 151, but the original Pokemon Red and Blue were not the ones that made an impact on me. I was familiar with the animated series, and I even became a master of the Poké Rap, but this was still a time when games were not a big part of my life. wasn't until 2000 that I got my first Game Boy and could get my first Pokemon game, Pokemon Silver. I have so many fond memories from the second generation of Pokemon. The Cyndaquil evolution line became my favorite of all the starter Pokemon families. I named my first Cyndaquil Shadow, not based off the Sonic character, but the dog from Homeward Bound, and he became my favorite little fire boy. And once he evolved into Typhlosion, I loved him. I never wanted so badly for a Pokemon to be real in my whole life. Fortunately, I don't know what happened to my copy of Pokemon Silver or my Game Boy Advance. I bought myself a copy of Soul Silver, but it's just not the same. Number 1. Final Fantasy X. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says, I love this game. This was the first Final Fantasy game I had ever played. I had never heard of Final Fantasy 7, 8, or 9 until after I played X. The first time I saw this game was when a bunch of boys were playing it at my sitter's house. I got the chance to play it for myself, and I was instantly pulled in within the first couple of seconds. The music, the imagery, the graphics, the design, the story. And let's just get this out of the way. I know it's supposed to be pronounced Tidus, but I will always refer to him as Tidus. And I know people really hate this scene, but the infamous laugh scene was actually really good. Everyone mentions how cringy it is and how bad of a laugh it is, but that's exactly the point. It was meant to feel awkward and uncomfortable. Tidus wasn't trying to legitimately laugh or hide his feelings like Yuna was suggesting. He was letting out his frustrations and emotions that, for the most part, he was keeping to himself. Although I love this game with all of my heart, there are some flaws. It has some problems with multiple plot holes and continuity issues that make no sense, an extremely anticlimactic final boss battle, and Blitzball, amongst others. But Final Fantasy X will always have a special place in my heart. In 2011, I cosplayed for the first time, and I just remember putting in so much work into every detail of that costume, and being so proud of it when I completed it. And I'm not gonna lie, it made me really happy that other people loved my costume as well. And the experience introduced me to so many new friends who I consider some of my closest. Like I said, I will always hold Final Fantasy X near and dear to my heart. So those are the video games that defined my childhood. Not much has really changed over the years. I'm still really late in the game when it comes to the newest consoles and game releases, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it stays. Hey guys! I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry it took so long, but it took a lot longer for me to make it than I had anticipated, but it's finished, and here it is. Yay! I also wanted to say that I noticed that there were 5 new subscribers to the channel. Thank you to those 5 people. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing so far. And if you guys can, in the comments, I'm really interested to see what kind of video games have influenced your childhood. So if you would like, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!